Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Chapman and all of your fellow commissioners, first of all, I would just like to thank all of you for listening and considering our views and viewing our issues as important. It's obvious that you do, and I thank you. And I also want to again extend my invitation for all of you to come to my home and from my home have a bird's eye view of the Vulcan gravel pit. I'm 1.1 miles away from it, and I'm above it. So if you accept my invitation and come out, I think you'll be shocked on 2 counts. The first count being the massiveness, the absolute massiveness of this excavation in contrast to the surrounding environment around it. It just dwarfs the environment around it. And it's kind of a shock. Every time I look at it, and I've looked at it 1,000,000 times, and I'm still shocked. The second shock is the amount of microparticulates that are emanating on a virtually continuous basis from this scar in the earth. Sometimes the dust cloud blows toward Placitas, sometimes it blows toward Bernalillo and Rio Rancho. And the hard science on these microparticulates is that once we inhale them, we own them. Our lungs have no way of addressing or removing them. And I can say with certainty that everybody in this room and nearly everyone in Rio Rancho or Corrales or Algodones or Placitas or Bernalillo, we've all got these particulates in our lungs as we speak. And that would be true of our families and our neighbors as well. So it's a very, very unpleasant idea to entertain, but the truth of the matter is that we're all playing Russian roulette with lung cancer. And the hard science is there to support that. So anyway, I would like you all to come out if you can. And I know James, I know Commissioner Dominguez plans to come out, and you're all welcome. So that having been said, what are you to do? Your legal advice probably is that this case can extend for all of eternity and cost a gajillion dollars. And your financial advisors would tell you that you don't have a gajillion dollars. So it's kind of a dilemma, I suppose. But you know, there are many reasons to not settle the matter, and I can only think of one possible reason to settle it, and that would be a financial reason. But I think the financial reason is a false reason, because I think if you work the numbers over time, it's going to cost the county more to settle than to not settle, because there are at least 2,000 homes within a 7-mile radius of this mess. And you know what's going to happen, and which I don't want to happen, is that these families they're all going to strongly protest their assessment and their property values, and they're going to cite a very, very credible study, and the study really it cites the property value impact versus proximity to a gravel pit. And if you're a mile away, it's an X% reduction in your property value. 2 miles away, Y. 3 miles away, Z. And it goes out for many more miles. And there are companies that specialize in these kinds of protests, and they're very, very good at it. And I think they've gotten wind that something's going on out here, and they're undoubtedly they're just licking their chops because they get a cut of any savings, any reductions that a homeowner gets. And I just don't want this to happen because it would just not be good for our county and our finances over time. It's just not a good thing to have unfold. So I respectfully ask the commission to stand up to these bullies for the sake of your families and for your constituents throughout Rio Rancho, Bernalillo, the Pueblo, Algodones, and Placitas. Please do the right thing for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Omer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Dick Ulmer. I'm from Placitas, and I'm not really here to talk about gravel tonight. I felt that it was appropriate, even though, as Mr. Fisher said, we've still got some major issues to work out. I'd like to acknowledge that since I last appeared before you, that at least we're seeing some positive activity. We're not where we want to be by any stretch of the imagination, but we need to acknowledge when our government is doing things in a correct fashion as opposed to just complaining. And so, this evening I really wanted to come here and just offer some thank yous. I want to thank the entire commission for the changes that you've been making in order to increase the transparency of the governance of this county. We've noticed these changes, and we look forward to this example that you're setting at the top, permeating down through the entire staff. Secondly, I want to call out and thank the commissioner for the Placitas area, James Dominguez, for his continued support, his involvement with the residents, and he's even brave enough to, from time to time, come to ESCA meetings. So that says a lot. I also want to make a special mention of Superman, Commissioner.
Oh, I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Block, who still hasn't switched the names around there, but because for any of us in Placitas, one thing we know is that Commissioner Block is responsive to his emails. He continually is on top of those. He communicates with us. Even when some of our community go over the top with accusations and unfounded comments. Our people are indeed passionate about Placitas, and usually that's a good thing, and we much appreciate Commissioner Block's support. And finally, I want to thank Chairman Chapman for reaching out to us when he recognized the need for additional dialogue in order for him at least to make proper decision concerning Placitas and concerning the gravel activities. And we look forward to our opportunity to share with you our perspective and to hear from you your perspective. And to look for opportunities on how we might better work together in achieving our mutual goals. Vice Chair Heil and Commissioner Eichwald, we haven't forgotten about you. We do indeed know of your activity and some of the improvements made here by the Commission, being made in the county. And we just look forward to getting to know you better, which is what we really need, so that we can all work together. So my message tonight is thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omer. Is there anyone that didn't sign up for public comment that would like to address the commission? Now's your chance. Yes, sir. Come on up, sir.
Mr. Chairman, my name's Greg Bixby, and I believe I did sign up, but it's all right. I'm here now.
Okay, it looks like you did, but it looked like you signed up for agenda item 16.
Okay. This is public comment.
But you can speak now. It's just as proper. Yeah.
Sure, that's fine. And, Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me a chance to speak. As opposed to being a mile and a half from the gravel pit, they're on my property line. So I have a very personal tie to that property there. And we moved there 10 years ago, and we understood. There's a gravel pit there. There's nothing special. We understood. We also understood that the county had a zoning situation in place such that it was supposed to expire on around 2015. And I believe the county believed that too, since when it expired, the county took some action. So, I'm asking, as a homeowner, I'm not representing the other homeowners, I can't speak for them, I can speak for myself. But I'm asking you gentlemen and the rest of the county organization to please represent me. This zoning problem wasn't created by the homeowners. This zoning problem was created by the fact that the county allowed a gravel pit be put there and then allowed homes to be built around it with the thought that there's not some environmental issue here. So obviously the county, has a remediation to do. And all we're asking is that the remediation of the zoning take place and do so in such a way that we understand the passion that you gentlemen got from the emails that I'm sure you all got this week all came from the fact that people don't know what's going on. When it's transparent and they see what's happening and they see that you guys are representing their interest, I'm sure the passion goes down and dialogue takes place. So all I can ask of you gentlemen is to realize a gravel pit is probably not a good neighbor. For example, I got sirens that go off anywhere from 5:45 to 6:30 in the morning. I hear the beeps of the trucks from 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning. They say they can work during daylight hours, but yet there's huge lights going on in the middle of that pit at 10 in the evening. Now, they say that it's maintenance. Maintenance is work, my friends. So if they're to work during daylight hours, they can do their maintenance during daylight hours, but they're going to stretch the limits of what you guys say is admissible. So please, put a limit on the time, have them remediate the land that they've been dealing with, and put a solid end date that doesn't get renegotiated when it gets close to the end. That's all we could ask of you. When we know what's going on, we get a lot less hostile. And gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bixby. It probably was tough to get this information disseminated to the folks in Placitas, but Mr. Omer alluded to the fact that there's a dialogue that we're having with Placitans and the county, and there's actually a meeting tomorrow. And I reached out to Mr. Omer to ask him to bring a group of people to the meeting that would be representative of all the folks that live in Placitas. And following that meeting tomorrow, he can disseminate whatever information to his fellow folks from Placitas as to the results of that meeting tomorrow. I want to thank you, Mr. Omer, for your kind words, Mr. Bixby, for being here tonight. Mr. Fisher, as always. I don't want to leave anybody out. Dr. Feldblum, Bob Wesley. We appreciate your passion, and we appreciate the fact that you acknowledge that this commission is really trying hard to be transparent, open, and engaging with our constituents. So we thank you for coming out tonight. We are going to move on unless Commissioner Dominguez has a comment.
I do. I have one thing I wanted to say, and the name changing here was not ours, what we did. I don't know who did this, but I'd like to say something that this commission is transparent, and we are here for our constituents and for you all there, all our citizens in San Diego County. Doesn't matter if our names are changed or not. When we all get together, we are transparent, and we become one altogether. So I just want to make that clear that we are here to do our job to best serve all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominguez. Any other comments from the commission?